Bitcoin receives a legendary flash dump the day El Salvador legalizes Bitcoin. Has this changed everything for the rest of the bull cycle? So many things have come up in just the last few hours, so without any further magoo, let's just dump on it. My panties are soiled, and I'm sure many of yours are as well, but there are things that I'm just honestly very excited to talk about because we just have so much to be dumping into. So without any further magoo, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, these absolutely time-sensitive alerts. How many days do we have left? Yeah, we have like 7 days left. Actually, maybe less. I think I got to refresh this. Oh, 7 days left for the ADA competition. And without any further magoo, let's dump on in. Wow, so I'm extremely excited to talk about this dump, especially, these kind of dumps are absolutely my favorite. And a lot to get into. One of the things I've been talking about almost like every other video for the past few weeks is something I think very important. And this was just my video even just posted 2 days ago. If you just listen very briefly, it'd be nice again to continue setting higher highs here. I still think it's so important to talk about the potential of a little bit of a dump over the next week or two. Again, this is considered a dumpy month. Overall, I think this could be one of the most bullish months, but that doesn't also mean we can have a dump thrown into this month as a precursor to a pump, okay? You can't have a pump without a dump, and you can't have a dump without a pump. So that was just a video from like 2 days ago, but I basically repeat that same thing like every other day, every other video that I post, just because it's so important. But what happened today, I think there's a very clear reasons behind it, and I think what this now means for this cycle, I think it's just very important. So before we actually jump into that as well, I do want to note this because this is something I always say, and I'll always get at least like 5 comments from people being like, I've never had problems with Coinbase. Well, here we go. This is Coinbase right now, degraded performance. People were unable to access their funds. It happens every single time there is a big pump or a big dump. And again, that's why I always strongly advise people, if you're interested in trading and if you want to have options, always just make sure you have more than just one option. I'm sure many of you out there use more than just Coinbase, if you even use it at all. I personally do use it. I don't use it for trading, but I use it for scooping up some alts and just some other small things. But if I'm trading, yeah, Coinbase is not what I'm using, and it has not been for quite a long time. But basically, this is just another thing. People will always tell me, yeah, Coinbase is absolutely fine. I've never had problems with it. Well, first time we have like an actual flash crash in at least a couple of weeks, and it goes down. So it's just important, guys, always have more options. And now, why did Bitcoin dump today? So I don't think it comes as any surprise to people that, as everyone's been talking about, El Salvador legalized Bitcoin today. It made it a legal tender here. And there was even that thing going around of like, everyone's supposed to like buy $30 worth of Bitcoin for like to celebrate this. And I'm sure, and I even talked about this, I think in the last video or the one before it, buy the rumor, sell the news, very similar to like how we've talking about ADA's smart contracts coming out in just about like 5 days. We talked about it in regards to that as well. So will we see a similar situation? But news, especially when you have a specific day where something's going to happen, very, very, very often, whales and people in very comfortable positions financially, do you think that they might use that as an opportunity? And I don't think it comes as any surprise. We're going to get back into this. But looking on this chart, it's pretty much the biggest dump we see on this chart. It's the biggest dump we see on this chart in a single like 4-hour candle, aside from the May 19th candle. That was probably the biggest. This is probably the second biggest. If we go to even the 6-hour chart, very clearly one of the biggest moves we've seen. And on this daily chart, the only thing that rivals this dump is kind of like that week-long area we talked about here as Bitcoin was going from 65K to 28K. So what caused the single largest daily dump in the last 4 months since we were plummeting below 30K for the first time of this year? It probably doesn't come as any surprise, but one of the biggest pieces of news for Bitcoin, a country accepting Bitcoin as legal tender, on the exact day as when we get a dump, you have to think that, that's probably a major catalyst of why the market was shorted the way that it was. But there's some very good news, and that's what we're going to be jumping into. And specifically, the good news is in the charts. But before we do that, actually, I just wanted to cover 2 things. Usually the cryptocurrency Reddit is full of misinformation, a trillion opinions that will absolutely confuse you. If you spend more than 5 minutes reading it, you will get every single opinion on the planet, and you will most likely leave the cryptocurrency subreddit way more confused than when you entered it. But with that being said, sometimes people do have some common sense takes here. So a dump on a day people expected a pump. It's a tale as old as time. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Past few days, everyone has been expecting a huge pump. Today, because of the country's legal tender news, and guess what? For years, this has happened not only here, but in the stock market. It is a pretty common known thing. So again, this is a significant dump if we compare the daily candles. Obviously, this clearly is the biggest dump we've seen, as I said, in months. And I think there is the fundamental reason of why. The first country on the planet legalizing Bitcoin as tender. So I think it was clearly taken advantage of. And yeah, as well, this crash is the reason we're on the way to $60,000. He says next week, but basically the crash does eliminate a lot of longs that have just been in place here. And again, you cannot have a pump without a dump. He goes on to just some more detail here, but these flash crashes, I absolutely 120,000% prefer them to the slow bleeding that we see in the markets, because we see this volatility return, we see this interest, even though this dump probably scared some retail investors, like it always does. I think it probably will leave maybe some less experienced people a little spooked, and they might sit on the sidelines. However, this is very big. And so with that being said, I want to actually just jump into the chart here. So what exactly happened? We plummeted below the 21. We actually held here for a decent amount. When I woke up, this is where we were sitting, right at about the 21 day. And as soon as we dropped below the 21 day, the first thought in my head was, this is about to get pretty dirty, especially considering the momentum that it was happening. The momentum, and you pull up the order book for a second and you just start seeing how the price is moving. You start to realize, wow, this is not a usual day, especially after the past few weeks where we've had little moves to the upside, little moves to the downside. But today, from the very beginning, from the second I looked at the charts this morning, you could tell that this was going to be a more substantial day. You could just see how everything was flowing so incredibly fast. And so with that being said, we plummeted below the 21, 50, and 200-day moving averages. However, currently we're above the 50 and the 200. The 21 sits at about 48.8, so a little above 48.8 thousand. So we're not there. We're actually about a little less than $2,000 below it as I record this. But if we look on this weekly chart, where did we bounce? We bounced exactly at the 21-week moving average, which is basically the only thing that matters. I talked about at the beginning of the video how I said about I've been saying about a $10,000 dump specifically for a couple of weeks now. So far, this was actually about a $9,700. Well, this week it was a $9,700 dump. Okay, yeah, it was actually about exactly a $10,000 dump. So yeah, I mean, if you watch the videos, you can go back. Like, if you don't believe what I'm saying, good thing YouTube videos are literally still there. So you can go watch the videos if you don't believe what I'm saying. But I've been saying about a $10,000 dump for quite a long time now. And this is exactly what I've been wanting. In fact, for a few weeks, I've been saying I would love to see like a pretty big dump. And again, what I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is why I'm now excited, because we got a dump. Now, with that being said, of course, we did bounce at the 21-week moving average, which is more important than anything. Like the question of this video, has this changed anything? In fact, no, this is exactly what we've been waiting for. And again, guys, keep in mind, I came on like the day that we crashed back on May 19th, and I said, yeah, this is the bottom. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to be boring, but for the most part, we have found the bottom. I said, we're not going down to 20K. We're not going to 10K. And for like 3 months, I got a bunch of people telling me that I was absolutely wrong. And there were a bunch of other people that were also saying exactly what I was saying, that, yeah, 30K for the most part was the bottom. We went a little bit below it. And now I'm saying that, yeah, we're in a similar position now where I don't think it's going to take anywhere near 3 months to recover. But now I think exactly what's going to happen is a lot of bears are going to get very confident. I don't think that Bitcoin will be at new all-time highs by tomorrow. Okay, this might take a little bit longer than some people might want to bounce back. Although I personally at this point think it's going to take a lot less time to bounce back. I have a feeling that this is going to be rather short-lived. Meaning I have a feeling the dump is going to be rather short-lived. But a retest of the 21-week is what we've been wanting, and we've gotten it. Now, with that being said, we're still in the middle of this move for the most part, even though a lot of the volatility has gone away. The order books have calmed down a lot. We've been trading around 47,000 for, a couple of hours now at this point. It's likely we could still trend, in a little bit of a downward direction for a little bit. What really matters is we got the dump that, realistically, I've been wanting for weeks. I think even since back here, like the very beginning of August, a real dump. Okay, this is a real dump. And so when you look at this chart, before we had this day, you look at it and think, wow, we've just basically only been going up. I'm getting kind of scared. Why haven't we had a dump? well, we just got it, okay? So that's the only thing I'm thinking. And as well, another word of warning, just like all of the bears took the opportunity when Bitcoin was at 30K to tell you we were going down to 10K and even below that, there's going to be a lot of bears telling you now over the next few days that we're going back to 30K and then 20K and then 10K. Keep in mind, remember how much you believed them this entire period here, and should you put that much faith in them now as we bounce off of the 21-week moving average. Well, so if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to like, subscribe, turn next because miss these absolutely time-sensitive alerts. Make sure to enter for the ADA competition below. And as well, I had to actually extend the coming soon here. I'm working with 3 engineers on this. So yeah, there's a little bit of delays. It should be within the next day. I just added a day to this. But yeah, it's not really in my hands. I have people working on it that are much more intelligent, much more computer savvy than I have ever been. So yeah, we just have a few people working on it. But without any further ado, this is for me. Bye bye.